All right, Kevin. Good episode. Hold on 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay.
All right.
Just keep it going. I'll be right back.
Okay. I don't think he's coming back.
Let's just get into it, Kevin. It's the Christopher Nolan episode of the Far Left Lane podcast. So if you don't follow the editing or whatever, you're not smart enough for our podcast. Let's get into the news, dude. Do you have any news stories you want to talk about?
I know there's a rocket launch tomorrow. The Vulcan rocket. Are you familiar with that one?
No, where's that
It
heading?
uh where's it happening? Or
Where's it going?
oh, it's
What's it
going to the
doing?
moon. It's going to the moon.
Oh, nice.
It's like a yeah, it's the United Launch Alliance. I guess they're sending like some um experiments from NASA. They're sending some robots for Mexico. And
Mhm.
they're also sending, this is kind of weird, like cremated remains from like 200 bodies.
Yeah, that's on my list. That's
Okay.
Elysium Space. Um, yeah, that's actually a perfect segue. That might not
Oh, is that the
happen.
name? Isn't it supposed to be tomorrow though?
Well, the Navajo Nation is
Oh,
in discussion with the American government to halt that flight because they say that the importance of the moon in Navajo and many Native American cultures,
hmm.
it would be like desecrating it, turning it into a graveyard. Um,
Wow.
so yeah, so they might actually cancel that launch.
Well, that's
I saw
interesting.
that there
So
was
I was just going to say you mentioned that earlier before we started the episode that you were going to talk about the Navajo thing.
yeah.
I didn't realize that was related to that
Yeah,
launch.
Navajo versus NASA. It's like a fascinating headline just on its
Yeah.
own. It's like what, how? So from what I read, there were 66 memorials or like batches of human remains or DNA
Hmm.
that were being taken up. There's actually two startups that are doing this. I just know the one is called Elysium. The other one had a name that wasn't like a word. It was sounded like something based off century or whatever, Centralia. That's a place in Washington. I don't think that's what it was. Um, yeah, I don't know. How do you feel about that? Like, I think it's kind of weird
I
to
think it's strange.
spend 10 grand to hypothetically get your ashes scattered on the moon. I mean, I guess if they're looking into creating a lunar economy, this is essential. But it's just weird, and also the fact that the Native American population in this country is like, no, we're not gonna let you do that. It's
Yeah.
desecration.
I don't know if I see the point. I'm happy for Mexico to have some robots on the moon. That's a cool little thing to.
What do you think they're called? Robertos? Like, is that a Mexican robot? That's
I,
probably
d-
not.
I don't want to get
Like,
canceled, but I was going to say El Robot.
um, yeah, I think it does seem like a very odd niche type of business. But I guess if people want to spend $10,000 and stuff, it just seems like at this point the government is either going to be like, sorry, Navajo Nation, we're doing it anyway.
Yeah,
Um, I feel like that's probably what's going to happen. There's too much money at stake.
yeah. I
Um,
mean the people that are launching it, it's not NASA launching it. It's the United Launch Alliance. So it's like a private company, just like
right.
SpaceX. Um,
Is this like the no, actually I think you already said it correctly. Because I remembered other things from this article, something like the name had something like Peregrine mission, something in it.
it might have. I when I was reading about it, it just talked about the ULA's Vulcan rocket is, and I know that maybe that's the name of the moon rover that it's sending. Yeah,
I
maybe
think
that's
that's
what
what
it
it
is.
is. I think it's
Yeah,
called the Peregrine.
yeah,
Um, well, yeah, let's see how this unfolds with the Navajo Nation. I wish you luck on your quest to protect the moon. Um,
I, y-
I'm not really into
what's weird
this
about
idea.
this is it's scheduled for tomorrow at like something crazy early in the morning, like 2 a.m. So
Yeah,
if
probably gonna happen.
yeah, I don't know how they're gonna stop it if it's scheduled to happen unless they have an issue.
Yeah. Um,
with the launch. But
Yeah, I wonder what the response from like the Native American, the Navajo will be if like they just if NASA's just like, or not NASA, but if they just carry on with this mission, sort of like a FU to the Native Americans, being like, okay, we hear you. It's important. This is more important to us. The memorials on the moon, I don't like it.
I guess they could just take off the ashes, I guess, or the you know what I mean, the cremated remains of the
Yeah.
people, and just send the experiment equipment that the
Part of
stuff
me
that
doesn't even
matters.
believe in it. In a weird way, part of me just doesn't believe it. Like sort of like when they sell you a star,
Hmm.
I'm like, so they say they're doing it, but do they have to actually even do it? It's more just
Yeah,
like it's more like the thought that counts, I guess. Um, let's move on. But I do want to follow up and see what happens with that. Um, there's just this is ridiculous, dude. I don't know if you saw this Miami Mall incident, like any footage of this.
no, I don't know.
I think it was like January 2nd, or maybe it was the 3rd. The like pretty much the entire Miami-Dade police force had to go to the Miami Mall because there was this like group of teenagers fighting and launching fireworks and stuff and just being rowdy. And like there's people in these high rises filming it and they're like, what the heck is going on? Because it looks like bad.
Riot?
It looks like something really bad is going on.
Yeah.
What I'm assuming is that the fireworks might have triggered like maybe a mass shooting type of scenario. They're like, oh, let's get everyone out there. But
Right.
what it turned into is a conspiracy theory about aliens, as they always do. There's, I mean, like YouTube and X and like Reddit and stuff are just flooded with all these grainy, terrible images of aliens walking around the mall. And like, I sort of think it might be like some guerrilla marketing for a new Cloverfield movie. Actually, that's what I think now. Or it
Yeah.
was just like it was a potential shooting, like active shooter scenario, and that's why they sent everyone out.
Hmm.
It seems like a bit of a publicity stunt. You should see some of this footage, dude. Like it looks kind of like a Quiet Place aliens, or like the aliens at the end of Cloverfield Lane, whatever that one was called.
Yeah.
Um, I
Cloverfield
don't know,
Lane.
man. But it's just crazy because there's all these cops going on like TikTok and YouTube and stuff saying, you guys need to chill. There's no aliens. You think that
Hmm.
like all those people would be there? All those kids are at the mall and there's no video of it. And then like there's this one guy, I guess, who was sort of popular on one of these platforms who made a very compelling video telling his testimony of what happened. And then a couple of days later, he's like, you guys are nuts. I was trolling. He's like, I've never been to Miami. I don't believe in alien bullshit. You guys need to get your like act together. Like,
It's kind of like
anyone's
the
falling for this is
yeah, it's
ridiculous.
kind of like the birds aren't real movement.
Yeah, people are just like not picking up on like the sarcasm.
Right.
um, but dude, it did catch my attention at first because it was such a massive police presence. I was like, okay, something's going on. And then since then, there's been a bunch of videos of what look like drones
Hmm.
around Miami, and people are like, see, the aliens are here,
Because there's
which they're
UFOs, and
not.
UFOs means aliens.
there's no such thing as like any of this stuff. But
Yeah.
I mean, I want to believe, but come on, we don't have any evidence. Um,
We don't have any good evidence. We need some good
yeah,
evidence.
I don't believe that. I don't believe in any of it. Oh my god, I could go on down some rabbit holes though with the conspiracy theory part of it, which is fun because I like sci-fi. I
Yeah.
just, I don't like to mix it up in real life because that's ridiculous. Have you seen any of I want to do a little politics now. Have you seen any have you seen Biden's first campaign ad of the year?
Isn't it a speech that he gave about like radical, I guess the January 6
It
rioters?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's about like democracy and free and fair elections. He's kind of got an angry tone. Like he's doing a lot of these like very angry old man rants lately.
Right.
Which I can get behind. I'm really into old man rants. But like the thing about it is, first of all, you have to turn on the closed captioning, which is unfortunate because like I'm like, what it?
Yeah,
This is the best. This is the best take they got. I mean, like,
he
I,
mumbles a lot.
It's so bad that I was like, I can't believe that this is the one they released. This is like the good take.
Yeah,
It makes me think that like they need to start looking into like a really good AI model of his voice so that they can
we'll just
start
have
tricking
like
people.
CGI Joe Biden.
Sure, let's do it. Hologram him, like
uh,
Tupac. It is a weird position he's taking though, with this like very angry, like we need democracy. It's like he has no competition. He's getting it just handed to him.
right.
He doesn't have to do any campaigning actually. Um, Trump is getting removed from ballots. I mean, this is like this is like the easiest like autopilot type of election to run. So his like, we need free and fair elections. It's like, dude, you're getting it such on a silver platter. I mean, I still
Yeah.
don't think he's gonna make it, but there's no complaint here. Um,
How long do you think Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis fight it out for before it just becomes one against Trump?
I guess it's probably gonna be Nikki Haley, maybe this time next month.
You think so?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wouldn't say Ron DeSantis has much time left. Um,
Yeah, I heard
and
she
yeah,
was like first place in I think New Hampshire or something. Um,
uh,
where Ron DeSantis was in the lead. I think he's still in the lead in I think other states, but
mhm,
um, it's trending the other way now. So
yeah. The other thing that's like really kind of crazy about the Biden campaign video is on any platform you look it up on, like it's overwhelmingly bad negative comments. Like
oh, is it?
it's not like you look on X and you just see like, let's go Brandon type
Hmm.
talk. It's on everything. It's just overwhelmingly, they're
Just
like, come
negative.
on, dude, it's time to drop out. I mean, Andrew Yang, I saw like the other day posting, he's like, you just got to do the right thing and hang it up, man. Like
Hmm.
everyone's turning on him. Um,
Did this come out on
it,
Friday? Because I remember hearing it on the radio. Sounds like a very old person
yeah.
thing to do, but I was driving at the time and I just remember, oh,
Yeah, I bet it did. What was the first day of the year?
was it on the first of the year or the
It might have just been the 2024 video released
Monday?
at the end of last year, but
Monday was the first.
yeah. The other thing that like the Biden Harris White House put out, like with their numbers from last year on the economy and the job reports and stuff,
Hmm.
all that was poorly received too, because everyone's like, you can't just like lie to all of us. We're not all stupid.
Hmm.
It's all so like cherry picked, where it's
Right.
probably technically correct, but it's also like, you know, it's a little bit of risk,
Yeah.
trickiness with how they're laying out their successes. Not a fan. Um, the the Birmingham Bass Pro Shop. I just want to go from something
Oh,
really
was
important
this
to
national
something
news?
not important.
I remember.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember when this happened because I heard it on the news, the local news. Um,
I I don't understand this person's confidence with going skinny dipping
yeah.
because they don't have a penis. I mean, it's very weird. Like the confidence to do that and be like,
He was
I mean,
crazy.
maybe,
He was crazy.
right. It is a
Yeah.
mental ill thing, and
Yeah.
that's why I really probably shouldn't make fun of it. But at first, I was like, it might be a they them, and I was like misgendering the person because it
Maybe
didn't.
it looked painful as he was getting dragged in the parking lot, like
Yeah.
dick down. Is that a saying? Dick
Wow.
down? Uh,
It is. It
it is
is.
now.
Yeah.
Dick down.
Um, there wasn't much dick, but man, I couldn't believe that was a scene. If anyone hasn't heard of this, I encourage you to type in Bass Pro Birmingham, and just don't do
Yeah.
that at work. Even though
I've taken my
there is
daughter
no,
to get Christmas photos there with Santa.
wow, what a desecration. Um, um,
Think of the children. Come on.
I should have lumped this into the political part because I was looking up important things that happened today in history,
Hmm.
and there was something I had no idea about. 44 years ago, Jimmy Carter did the first bailout for the automobile industry. Um,
Really?
yeah, Chrysler was in crisis, a good sentence. Nice couplet of words. Chrysler was in crisis. They were like down like billions of dollars, and he said he had this idea. He's like, what if we create like a bailout program for these like companies that are too big to fail? And he's like, $1.5 billion should keep them afloat, which I mean, in 44-year ago money, that's a lot of money.
Right.
But I had no idea. Did you know that was a thing pre-Obama?
I did not.
I mean, when I saw the number that it was 44 years ago, I was like, wow, I bet there's a ton of history that repeats itself that I'm just not aware of. And it's like things that I'm like, wow, I can't believe where this is happening. It's probably happened 50 years ago.
Hmm.
Yeah, I just had no idea. How do you feel about these how do you feel about these like protests where they block highways?
I'm
You
against it.
know, like I'm super against it in every possible way.
I think it could
Um,
be dangerous
it
for like
can. I mean, I
people,
think
emergency vehicles, lots of.
there is actually one case of that where there was um an ambulance that couldn't get through, and the paramedics got out and pleaded with them. They're like, "This person's gonna die," and
Yeah,
they let him through. But that's like
they shouldn't
this
have
all
not.
started
That's so
this all
ridiculous.
started in Europe with Just Stop Oil, like, which is I think such an odd group because they sort of act like the terrorists in Fight Club. They just like vandalize stuff and Project Chaos. Is that what it's
Yeah,
called?
yeah, yep.
Um, they behave a lot that way. I mean, like they go to like museums and they just like pour orange paint on like you know priceless, irreplaceable art, and then they just vandalize shit. It's crazy,
Then just
but also
say, let's get off oil.
yeah, and
Fuck
also
big
I
oil.
mean a lot of paint is oil based, so I'm
Yeah,
wondering that the irony there. But it's so crazy that that's come to the Americas with like the pro Hamas um, protests in the streets. I mean, it is actually there's actually something legally about this that I think they can start arresting people for because it is a version of false imprisonment.
hmm,
Um, just keeping someone like you're not allowed to leave. That's actually highly illegal, and people are getting hurt on both sides. Um, it's a crazy thing. Just stop oil, and also the fact that it's Hamas protesters. I saw actually a
I
video in
understand
Canada.
Palestine protesters, but they're actual Hamas protesters.
In Canada, I saw a video
That's
specifically
crazy.
of this
Do they
where
realize that they're rooting for the terrorists? Like,
I don't know. I think no one's really plugged in anymore. Everyone's just like choose a side. I choose no side. I refuse. But it was crazy that I saw in Canada that the cops were like they were helping the event. They're like, yeah, block these roads. They were bringing out like coffee. They were like catering the event essentially. So
wow.
they have all these people pro-Palestine or the radical version,
Yeah.
and the cops are just like bringing them coffee and donuts. I mean, like fight the power. I'm like, wow, the world is upside down, dude. Um,
Hmm.
well, I don't know. I don't. It bums me out when I get too topical with like all the crazy stuff going on in the world. So I think we should keep it light with a game. I think we're both pretty huge Christopher Nolan fans, right? Um,
Yes.
so it's that time again. Let's do a tier list.
It's been too
Unless there's
long.
something else. Do you want to do you want to talk about anything else before we go or
Uh, the only the only thing I could think of was the Alaskan uh that Alaskan plane. Trying to remember what it was called. Alaskan Airlines or whatever.
oh the
Yesterday.
the door that
Yeah, I think it was a window actually. I don't know. I don't think it was an
window?
emergency exit. It was like the entire section of the plane just like fell apart as it was
Oh,
like taking off. I think it was like
weird.
yeah, several thousand feet in the air, but fortunately it didn't happen when they were at like cruising altitude because like could have sucked people out of the plane.
There was no people in those seats.
There's no
Like
people in the
where
seats now.
that's a crazy modern
It
day
w
miracle then.
Yeah, but even if there's people walking around, I don't know enough about this. Your dad actually probably be the person to ask, but
Yeah.
can't they get sucked out? Like
Hmm.
something just blows open like that, like if they're not if a stewardess was like walking through handing out drinks.
Wow.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, I saw pictures and I assumed I thought it was just like it had to be like an emergency exit because it was wow, that's frightening, dude. That's like the opening scene in Final Destination or something.
Yeah, I don't think it
Um,
was an emergency exit because that's they didn't say that in the in any of the articles I read, but it maybe it is. I don't know. It looked like it was an
yeah,
entire section. So you know how like they have the little small windows? That whole section where the window would be and the the sidings and stuff, it like was
yeah,
completely gone. So like I think somebody could have been sitting there and they would have been okay. They would just be like freaking out
right.
because the seat was still intact, but it's like you're just looking out and you're 10,000 feet in the air or whatever, how high they were. But
Can you imagine like you're just doing some work on your laptop and it's just it sucks out?
and then you gotta tell your employer, hey, I need a new laptop.
It fell out of an airplane.
Or some
You know
kid
how
was
that
doing his
happens.
homework and he has to tell the teacher, I'm sorry, my homework's lost.
Yeah. Um,
Uh,
I I wonder, like, because if something bad happens on a flight, or whatever, they're like, okay, we're gonna give you free flight. Maybe we'll give you another free flight. What do they do in a situation like that? I
I don't know.
mean,
I think
I feel like you could sue them.
Boeing is gonna probably get sued because this is the same 747 Max airline that had those crashes from a couple years ago. Do you remember that? And they were doing these
Oh, is it?
investigation. Yeah, they just I think it was like a year or two ago they stopped the freeze on it and then they started flying them again. Like airlines started using them, but yeah, they have some quality control stuff they got to look into.
Wow, I wonder if there's any correlation between Nikki Haley's involvement with Boeing and
Ooh,
their lack of quality control. Hmm. Maybe Ron DeSantis does have a chance. Hmm. No, neither of them do. Not, seriously, not at all. Dude, that's frightening. I didn't really uh, read a whole lot about the details of that. I just saw the pictures and was like, that's someone's getting fired.
yeah.
Um, let's move on to a game. Um, and you know what? Christopher Nolan's great. I think we should do something more edgy. I just changed my mind. We are gonna do a tier list of countries. I'm just kidding.
It's like
That would offend people. No, what we'll actually do is accents.
it's
We'll
like
do an
the Christopher
accents
Nolan thing
tier
was a
list.
great idea.
No, no, I want to do accents tier list. Okay, so
Okay.
worst accent. Let's start. No, let's not piss off our future fan base. Let's do Christopher Nolan. He's the
Do it.
man.
Yeah.
All right. All right, so we're doing the Christopher Nolan tier list, everyone. I think we got 12 films here. Full disclosure, I have not seen one of them.
I don't think I've seen
So
every movie either. So
I'm actually this movie following, which is his first film.
all right,
I'm
great.
actually I'm okay with removing it because I don't feel like it's fair to judge it. I printed it just in case you might have seen it.
Mhm. I've not seen
All
it.
right, I'll put it on the backside then. I think it
Okay.
was his first film. I don't even know if it's a proper film. I think it's silent, but I think it's just experimental, like student film. So barely
Oh,
counts, you know.
right.
Um, okay, I have some pretty strong opinions on Christopher Nolan, as you do. I'm pretty sure you do as well. Um, I like when we start from the bottom.
Yeah, let's do it.
So let's. I'm actually going to go out on a limb and say I don't think Christopher Nolan has any F tier movies.
I agree with that. Um, could could we do a little rundown on which movies? I
Yeah.
see the pictures. I know some of
Okay.
them.
Memento, The Prestige, Insomnia, Batman Begins, Inception, Interstellar, The Dark Knight Rises, Dunkirk, Oppenheimer, and Tenet.
Okay.
Okay, I can quickly, as I did that, I felt the heat on one of these where I was like, oh yeah, that's a D tier one. I don't know if you're going to agree with this, but we could put it there
Okay.
until we go final assembly. I think The Dark Knight Rises,
Hmm.
the third one, is his only D tier movie. I do not think that this is the third one.
Yeah, I would say
I don't know.
probably C or D.
Let's put it somewhere right there then.
Put it on the spectrum.
To me, that's the lowest ranked one. Insomnia, I guess I would probably also say is somewhere in that same category. But this one is a weird one. Have you seen it?
I've not seen that one. There's a couple that I
Okay.
haven't seen. But So I'm not going to
Okay,
argue. You rank it for sure.
trust me on this one. This is a D, but not
Okay.
like it's bad. It's just not really a Christopher Nolan movie. You know, he's like a visionary director.
Hmm.
Usually him and his brother Jonathan write the scripts or come up with the idea, produce it and stuff.
Hmm.
This is his only movie where he was kind of a hired gun. There was other people. It was not his story, and it's also, you know, it's got like a dramatic performance from Robin Williams. I actually prefer Robin Williams in dramatic roles, but it's sort of boring. It doesn't have his visual style because it takes place in Alaska. It's all dark and moody. It's like murder, but I'll put that as a D, and I'm cool with keeping it there because it's just not really doesn't even feel like him. Um, you want to do a little positivity and put something up higher?
Sure.
Which ones are you thinking?
I think do you have Batman Begins on there too?
Yeah, I have all three Batmans.
Okay. Um, I really liked Batman Begins. I know The Dark Knight is also really good, but I would put that as a B or
Okay.
yeah, somewhere on B. It may not be the front B, but it's on there somewhere.
Do you like the Batman Begins more than the Dark Knight?
I wouldn't say more. No, I like The Dark Knight more, but it's a good Batman movie. I will say
For
that.
now, then
Yeah,
let's just
move it
put
a little.
that one
Let's
just
do that.
above it because
Okay.
I think the Dark Knight. I mean, this is actually the only one the Christopher Nolan Batman movies I really like and have
Really?
watched multiple times, and I think most people would agree with that. Probably because of the Heath Ledger part of it.
Yeah.
Um,
Batman Begins
but
was pretty
yeah,
good for a Batman movie, though.
yeah, I was just making sure that it was. I definitely think it's better than Batman Begins.
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah.
Okay. Uh,
Let's do our number
okay.
one. What's your number one?
I mean, it's probably, I think we're both going to say
Interesting.
Interstellar,
Oh, of
right?
course. Yeah.
Interstellar. Tell me why. Tell me why it is for you, because I know the reasons why. It's just
I like the
it's,
I love the music.
the music is incredible.
I love the time dilation stuff. I love
Right.
the cinematography of the black hole. Um, I love the story. It's a great movie.
I agree with every one of those points. And I think I was going to say it almost in the same order. The music in that is like one of my top five soundtracks of all time.
Yeah.
Hans Zimmer, like his partnership with Christopher Nolan is great. That being said, I'm going to do this. I know you probably disagree here, but I would put Tenet also in the A,
Hmm.
and different reasons. Tenet is got a really killer soundtrack, and it's different. It's Ludwig Göransson's soundtrack, but it's like cool. It's like, I mean, first of all, it's got like Travis Scott songs on it, so it's a
Hmm.
lot more modern.
I need to
But that
give
movie,
I need to give Tenet another try because I when I watched it before, I don't know if it was my audio settings on that movie because it was a
mm,
digital version of it. Um, it it was so hard to like hear, not the
really,
soundtrack, but it was hard to hear like the dialogue. I don't know. I had a difficult time with it. I think it was my stream quality. I don't know. Um,
it's about Tenet. Like I do love how it's a more minimalist Christopher Nolan movie. There's
mhm.
like so few visual effects in it. Like when you watch like the behind the scenes, like David Washington, Denzel Washington's son, that's the main dude.
Mhm.
He learned a lot of that choreography in reverse, like the fight scenes in reverse, and that's like what really sells the whole concept. Um, okay, let's go to Memento since it's right there. I've seen this 1.5 times.
I've never seen it,
Um,
so whatever ranking you give it is
I'm gonna say it's pretty mid for me. I mean, it's probably I'm gonna put it like right there in the C, but not like top C or somewhere in the middle C. It's it is a gimmicky movie. It's like all his movies. It's got a puzzle type component to it, but it's
mhm.
like I don't think it has that appeal of watching it multiple times. Um, then again, I don't know. Maybe people like who like M Night Shyamalan movies, like you could be like, oh, I know the twist, but it's still good multiple times. It has that sort of vibe for me. Um, Plus, he's just gotten so much better since then. That's like his. I think this was like his
An early.
first big movie.
Yeah. I think The Prestige is A tier. Did you like
I
that movie?
love The Prestige.
Yeah.
Love it, dude. I mean, the cast is killer. It for me, I would say of all the Christopher Nolan movies, this is the one. The Prestige is the one that like I the whole time I was like, wait, what is happening? Like trying to figure out the puzzle in real time, and being very surprised in the end. What do you like about The Prestige to make it A tier?
I thought it had a good story. I liked
Yeah.
I liked that it was like a mystery. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I was re-looking at some Christopher Nolan movies in preparation for this, and I was like, I remember that movie, and that was really good. I've seen it. I've seen it several times, but it's just been a while because that came out I think in 2006 or something, didn't it?
That sounds right.
Yeah,
Yeah, it sounds right.
it's been out for a long time. So
I think it came out the same time as that the movie The Illusionist. Do you remember the one with Edward Norton?
Yeah.
It was kind of like the same dueling magicians in Victorian era.
Got a tremolo.
Tremolo appearance. I think she's pointing to Oppenheimer. Do you think Oppenheimer's an A or B?
I like that movie a lot. Ranking it with the other ones, I would probably give it an upper B or a lower A. It's a good movie.
I'd give it a B.
Yeah.
It's very good. I mean, I love the cast in this movie. Every bit part is someone cool. Like I'm like, oh look, there's Josh Hartnett, and stuff like that. Cillian Murphy's awesome. I mean, we could do Final Assembly in a bit, but I think it's much higher than the Batman movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely not one of his fun movies. Like Inception is fun.
Yeah.
And Inception is like also it's got a really cool soundtrack, really
Zimmer,
interesting vibe. The only thing that I would say that makes this lower on the A's for me is they do really make up the rules of time dilation in real time, and they're explaining it to each other so much. Like the expository dumps that they take in this movie sort of makes it not quite as good as his other visionary stuff, but still, it's like, I mean, Leo in Dreamworld, that's awesome, dude. Okay, in Dunkirk, this is probably not a popular opinion. I'm gonna say it's a C tier because there are a lot of other war movies that I prefer to this one.
Mm-hmm.
Also, they have to play with time in this when it doesn't really need to be that way. It's a war movie, but they're still doing like a day in the life of these soldiers, a week in the life, and a month. Like they're doing this kind of like playing with the storytelling and time.
It was cool to watch in the movie theater, I thought.
I didn't see it in theaters, unfortunately. I would put it at the top of C. I printed these a little big, didn't I? All right, now we got to get it in Final Assembly. I'm cool with leaving Interstellar in the top spot.
That's where I would leave it too.
Do you want to change the order of these other ones somehow? I mean, like, I'm thinking probably Tenet should go down a little lower. Maybe Interstellar or Inception there.
I'm good with leaving it 2 or 3. So, what do you think between The Prestige and Inception? I'm fine with that.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay.
They're close.
For the B tier, I mean, I feel like Oppenheimer is definitely more important, and also just better filmmaking than a Batman movie. Even though these are Christopher Nolan Batman movies, still want to put here. Did you see the video? Or not a video, an article that just popped up the other day that Christopher Nolan was doing a Peloton class, and the teacher in the class started talking about Christopher Nolan movies. But like, she's like, did you guys see the movie Tenet? She's like, oh, I wish I'd get that 3 hours back in my life. What the hell was going on in that movie? Okay, I have a little bit of conspiracy theory about this, because this story just came out, but it apparently happened like 3 years ago when the movie came out. I don't know. I think that this is probably more like something the publicist kept in their back pocket. Like, let's keep Christopher Nolan relevant, especially it's award season. Oppenheimer is like all, because like this, there's no possible way that he was doing this just recently, going through the archives and found this random old class. I think it most likely just is something he heard about. He's like, hey, I was taking a Peloton class and the lady did not like that movie Tenet. He's like, really? And he looked up the clip and then they just put the story out there. Because it is so late afterwards and it's just like, why? I don't remember where this one was. Okay, so Oppenheimer.
Definitely Dark Knight.
Could we do the Dark Knight
Yes.
above Batman Begins?
Oh yeah, I think
Okay.
yeah. I like Batman Begins, but I would put it second.
Geez, now I'm actually feeling kind of bad about Dunkirk because I like Dunkirk more than I like the Batman movies. I'm gonna bump Dunkirk up. Just it's a true story.
Yeah.
Real young British soldiers died. I can't say that is not as good of an achievement as.
Do you want to put it in between the Batmans, right?
I'm the Dark Knight.
Oh, I'm
Like that.
Yeah.
Oh, Batman. You can't do that. But I will put it in the same level. But Insomnia a little bit more than I like. I guess I really don't like The Dark Knight Rises. That's kind of what it's coming down to for me. But it's probably C. It's not a D.
I'm good with that. Is this like our
Uh,
Golden Globes? There's a Golden Globe award tonight. This is our just for Christopher Nolan.
Yeah. Yeah, this is all in honor of Christopher Nolan. He's going to sweep it with Oppenheimer. Yeah, we're like the foreign press, Kevin. This is an important exercise. I'm actually okay with this. And following, let's put it F tier. Let's stick with the spirit of a tier list. Something has to be the worst. This probably he would agree is his worst movie. Let's think of it that way.
Yeah. I have no comment because I've not seen it, but
I haven't seen it either, so it feels wrong to even judge it. But you know what? Sometimes you just gotta.
yeah,
break
it couldn't have
some-
been that
break
good if
some
I didn't see
eggs.
it, right?
Right, exactly. Also, following F tier, it just kind of goes together.
Yeah.
Bunch of Batmans in B tier. I like this, man. I'm cool with this.
Maybe we did it intentionally. Batman's in B tier, the following at F tier. What else we got? Any others that match up to their letter?
Interstellar, Inception,
Yeah,
and
those
Insomnia should have been I tier. I like that we do ours on the American grading system, not the S tier, E tier, all the
Yeah, those made up.
the Japanese.
Oh, is
grades.
that a thing?
It's based off the Japanese grading system, and I just we're Americans. We should have done the country tier list, dude, or accents. I think it would have been hilarious.
We should have done them in Fahrenheit. This one's hot, 100 degrees.